I know, this list is very late, and I thought if Arrow Dragon 2 can still put his list up in March, then there's no harm with me doing this, right? Until it took an extra 2 months, and that's entirely on me for wanting to make sure the script doesn't have any snags in it, and wanted to spruce it up a bit. 2024 was filled with stellar games and laughable losers. So bad I now worry this jam won't last longer than 2 weeks. Thankfully, I steered clear of the laughing stocks and spent my time with the really good ones, even if there's still a few that I've only been able to put in a few hours for. Only 2 rules. They first released in 2024, so re-releasing it on a different platform for the first time doesn't count. And 2, it has to be a full game that came out in 2024. Remasters and remakes are perfectly fine. Intro done, time for the fun. Let's start it off!
5th place.
I was one of those people that enjoyed Epic Mickey back in the day. I'm sure some of you remember that as well. So when the remaster comes out and fixes nearly all of the issues with the original, man, those early flaws are so much more apparent now, aren't they? Did I get the Switch version for the motion controls like I said I would? Not yet. I tried the demos, and the better load times and performance of the Series X convinced me to get that version. If I got the Switch version, more than half of my time would have been spent in the load screens. And if you don't believe me on just how bad they could be, then let's keep this up just a little bit longer so you can see them for yourself. And then about a week after the game came out, I got a used PS5 and tried the demo there, and it was the best of both worlds! Man, I really wish I'd gotten this one instead. But I tell you what, I honestly wouldn't mind getting the other 2 versions, once they're on a good sale and if the Switch 2 has faster loading for it. But let's go back to why the remaster is so good! The glow-up is on a whole nother level! One of the best before and after sequences you can actually believe! The bleak and dim environments that haunted the wastelands are given a fresh coat of paint that clearly give us the impression of what was once a happy paradise that fell to ruins by a simple mistake! And it pulls it off so well, as if it remains a form of hope and happiness at a calamity site! And it's not just about the looks, the feel of the game is leaps and bounds ahead of where it started from! They even gave him some new moves, the ground pound, the quick dash, and the ability to run! I know it's hard to tell from this, but he is in fact running. I keep forgetting that I have them, but they're nice to have. Jeez, can you really blame me for not wanting to put up with this? Back to the improvements. The camera, which was the biggest complaint with the original, is at your command. Except in certain places, which allows me to appreciate the sharper visuals all the better! Heck, even his jumps feel like they got an upgrade, making the platforming parts a whole lot easier to know if I can make the jump or not! In other words, it looks better, plays better, and feels better. This remaster gets just about everything right, the complete opposite of their live-action remakes. I promise that's the only jab I'll make in this video. Otherwise, I could be here all week, folks! I've already played through it about 3 times, still finding new things with each playthrough, while also forgetting about certain quests and can't do them again unless I start a new file. Oh darn! Guess I'll just have to play through it again.
4th place.
Monkey.
Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania would have been in my top 3 favorite games of 2021. There was just one problem. No online modes. And during the pandemic, that's a crime against fun! So this one corrects that and then some. You can play the adventure mode together with your friends offline and online. You can either take your time, learn the layout, and master the design, or gotta go fast and throw caution to the wind while probably throwing ourselves off the map. Hey, when you have no lives and no continues to get in the way, experimenting on how fast you can get through has never felt more rewarding. Then add some challenges that are just insane to get as one person, but with co-op, me and the boys about to ruin some challenges days. If one person clears a challenge, everyone clears it! You can have a dedicated goal runner, banana grabber, and one to go, whoa, golden banana. Teamwork at its finest. And then there's Versus Mode. 16 friends online and you can pick the mode, or with 16 random players, but the mode is also random. Gaining power-ups and punching other monkeys off the platform and into next week feels so satisfying!
It's clobbering time!
But sadly, I must remind you that getting this mode with anyone is random. I seem to get Jewel Heisted
Get it up!
the most, and it makes me wish there was a better way to set this up, like a voting system. That would work really well for this. But even then, these modes on their own aren't bad. I just wish I could take down some giant robots more instead. If you've never tried this series before, I highly recommend this one. It might look a bit too cute and innocent, but if you turn your guard off for a second, you'll break more controllers than any M-rated game ever could.
Third place!
Is it me, or does Jamboree just straight up hate human players? If I play against the CPU, they'll get the rolls they need, chance time is always in their favor, just accept your fate, hidden blocks are attracted to them, other CPUs help hurt you to benefit other CPUs, and I'll get the lowest rolls, the worst spacing, and the loudest internal screams. But playing against other people, it feels like it hates us all equally, so it's fair. At its core, it's just like any other good Mario Party. Good selection of minigames, with quite a number of them that let everyone win, and that's always nice. Though there are ones you have to wonder why others like them, and feel like they're as long as a turn on the board. A good amount of maps with only one that I hate, despise, loathe entirely. Jamboree buddies that break the pacing, break the game, break your heart, and sometimes make things worse for me instead of making them better. And when you want to shake things up, Pro Mode rules give the players more freedom over what happens, but Bowser Space is instant cry time. So far, I've been somewhat positive and negative, and it's at third place. But honestly, when getting some footage against CPUs, it got so aggravating, I was planning to drop it to 5th place and tempted to remove it altogether. But that's just the nature of Mario Party. A lot of fun and a lot of depression. But it's got 2 modes that easily save its spot. Quick question though, does Jamboree have more modes than the previous Mario Parties? Sure feels like it. Single player, minigame bay, and for some reason, 3 motion control areas, which work well, but are easy to forget. I could always just take pictures of things going on as a nice distraction, but these 2 modes are very hard for me to put down. Koopathlon is basically a Mario Party Battle Royale mode, but instead of taking out others, you just do better at minigames in order to finish first. You can also earn items that can really give you a boost, but on the flip side, items from the opponents can hinder you just as well. Oh, come on, I just got rid of you!
Here comes Bowser.
What a casual way to say, and finally, Bowser Kaboom Squad, which, I have to say, I think I've started to enjoy this more than the main game. It's a co-op mode where you avoid hazards, pick up bombs, and launch the boom at PlayStation Bowser!
Did somebody say boom?
Minigames are also co-op, and the better the whole team does, the better items you get, with my preferred choice being the zip panels, cuz... Whee! More modes like this, please! At least it's something! Can I also ask for more boards and characters? Please? Hello? We're moving on to the next entry, aren't we? Dang it.
Second place!
Me, myself, and Shadow. Sega might be trying to reuse older levels as much as possible, but this is the one to kick it off and do it successfully. It runs smoother, better, faster, and it doesn't freeze in certain parts. I always wanted there to be DLC to include more levels, but they completely missed that opportunity. Thankfully, Shadow is here to give us his story with more levels and bosses. Seeing Shadow get to spend a little bit more time with the 2 people who meant the most to him? Yeah, who didn't want to see more of that? Give him some new powers that grant him more combat and terrain movement, and Shadow feels more unstoppable than he ever did, even with the Chaos Emeralds. I have my little issues with the game, this part being changed, this part not being changed, etc. But at least it's not a part of the actual gameplay that remembers to capture the feeling of speed, precise jumps, reactions, and fun! We even got a DLC level from the 3rd movie, and they called it a season pass! So, does that mean we can get more in the future this time? Cause I've got some entries.
We interrupt this list to bring you a list of levels CJ would like to see added as DLC in order of their release. Starlight Zone, Mystic Cave Zone with a detour to Hidden Palace Zone and or Metropolis Zone, Quartz Quadrant Zone, Carnival Night Zone, Death Egg Zone, Twinkle Park, Metal Harbor, Egg Fleet, Pirate Storm and or Night Palace, Holoska, Asteroid Coaster, Tropical Coast Act 3, Studiopolis Zone or Press Garden Zone, Coronos Island, and Speed Jungle.
Are we going to get these? Probably not, but come on, Sega and Sonic Team. A few extra levels for DLC would go a long way. And no, I'm not paying another $50 for the Switch 2 version when they should have just let me upgrade it for $10. That was just dumb, Sega.
Alright! First place!
What did you say your name was?
And I'll never forget it. Have you heard people say this is Mario Galaxy 3? Even that feels like it's underselling the game. This is one of the most charming, playful, whimsical platformers out there, and polished to oblivion! No space feels unused, no level feels plain, no idea feels poorly done! Except maybe this one can go a little haywire at times, but even then it's not terrible. It's just not as much fun as the others. Whoever has the world record for that level, you can keep it. I'm fine with just beating my friends' records in the other ones. Since Astro only has melee, a spin, and a hover jump that can cut enemies in half as his natural abilities, you'll smile when you see those power-ups show up, and the fun you can have with them. Who doesn't like Astro Bob Squarebot? But one of the most fun things of all is finding all the little guest bots and saying, "Hey, I know who you're supposed to be! Special third-party guests? I love it! Holy crap, you're here too? That's amazing!" This actually makes me wish I was a huge PlayStation fan so I could really enjoy all of this trivia. This generation may have had two consoles that basically had nothing but the older games to play on them, but this one made owning a PS5 worth it. Heck, I bought the game before the system just so I could support it on launch weekend. The only real problem is that it still feels a little on the short side. As in, I want more of this! Team Asobi, I really hope you get so successful that you get to have two teams. One for making Astrobot games, and one for reviving old PlayStation platformers. You guys have the magic touch and understand what we love about them. Continue to be great. We're all cheering for you. And that'll do for this list. And if you have a difference of opinion, I'd like to hear what your 5 favorite games of 2024 were. This right here. This is why it's Game of the Year. This. Just this.